Hello everyone. So we are in the middle of winter here in northern Illinois, and yesterday we had a blizzard and there's about a foot of snow on the ground right now, and it's going to be below 0 degrees Fahrenheit as the high for the next several days. So I have been thinking about cold weather makeup and about maybe creating a fun makeup look to make me feel a little more cheerful. So I was thinking about last year how everybody was doing the cold girl makeup look, and I think that especially for winter like this, actually a lot of parts of that makeup look really seem very appropriate and natural looking. And so I thought that what I would do is take some of the products that I have from Rituel de Fille and to try to create a little bit of a riff on that particular look from last year. So the reason that I think of Rituel de Fille for this is because they have a color that I think is the perfect color for cheeks, and they actually have described this for years as the color of your cheeks during cold winter days spent outside. And I think that this has worked really, really well in terms of giving me a natural look. I also have been thinking about the fact that there are a few Rituel de Fille products that I've been trying out, but that I haven't put yet in any videos. So what I have here, I have their new mascara, and I have their new lip plumping oil, which is called Thorn Bite, and I have a new shade in their eyeliner, which is called Dusk, and I also have some other products from them that I really like, so I'm going to be using all of those to put together a quick 5-minute makeup look that I have really been enjoying myself. So first, a little bit of information about me. I'm 59 years old and I have dry and sensitive skin. And over the past 3 years, I've tried about 1,000 makeup products, so I have a pretty good basis of comparison for everything that I use. And I do like to spend only about 5 or 10 minutes putting on makeup, and so those are the looks that I favor on this channel. And there are certain ingredients that I have realized always do irritate my skin, and I know that those ingredients tend to be very irritating for many other people as well, so I just don't talk about products that feature any of those ingredients here on this channel. And so yesterday I put on this same basic makeup look, and I shot some footage of myself putting that on, and then I went out in the snow for a while, so I gave it a pretty good wear test. And so I will insert that footage as I talk about each of the products. Now let's talk a little bit about Rituel de Fille. So they are a company that is based in Southern California, and they have been around for about a decade, I think. And it was a company that was founded by two sisters and then their sister-in-law. And they are all visual artists, painters and other kinds of visual arts. And so they are particularly interested in colors. And they use pretty much all natural ingredients, or mostly natural ingredients, including all natural colors. And I do think that the colors that they have been able to create are really wearable and really pretty and really kind of extraordinary for a company that's not using any synthetic colors. Now, in the past, they have always had their products be pretty much all natural, and they're not vegan, so they do use beeswax and carmine and lanolin in most of their products, especially the older products. So I have always really liked their products, and I feel like my skin has done really well with them, and that especially if you consider that they're all natural products, that they have performed well for me. But it does seem to be the case that people are becoming more demanding in terms of the performance that they're expecting. And so they have been experimenting a bit and introducing some either experimental ingredients into their formulas, or in some cases small amounts of non-natural ingredients. And one of the products that they released recently was a foundation, and that foundation was one that I really liked the lab sample for that, but then they decided to change it a little bit and re-release it, and that irritated my skin like crazy. I think that the reason for that is because it has an ingredient in it that has a mold derivative in it, and I do tend to be really, really sensitive to mold. So that was not a product that worked for me, so I'm not going to be putting on the foundation in this video. And I also found that their skincare products, they have a rose oil in them, and I found that that does cause my skin to react as well. So a couple of their products haven't worked out for me, but I have found that these new products that I'm going to talk about in this video, the mascara and the lip oil, that those have been perfectly fine for me and not caused me any irritation at all. So I'm happy about that. So I don't think it's really a great loss for this cold girl makeup look not to be able to wear a foundation all over my face, because what I'm really looking for is a more natural look anyway. So what I used instead is their concealer, which I think is very nice. This has been out for quite a while, and it includes all natural ingredients, including the lanolin and jojoba oil. I think that the oils in this are very good quality, and this has worked quite well for me. I don't think it's my absolute favorite concealer, but it is one that I've been reliably pretty happy with. And I have this in the color Metis, which I think is also called Daphnis now. And this comes in 12 different shades, and I sent a picture of myself to the people from Rituel de Fille, and this is the color that they suggested. I think this is more for a light medium color skin tone, and it's supposed to be a little sandy colored. I think this is actually a really good shade for me to put under my eyes. I think it's less good for the rest of my skin, but I think that if I blend it in with a brush, that it really does pretty much disappear into the skin. And so in this video, I'm using the Jones Road Everything brush, which I think is a nice dense brush that does a really good job of blending in that kind of product really fast into my skin, so it becomes not very noticeable. And now one thing about this concealer is that it does go on the skin kind of greasy, and so I do really need to put some kind of a powder down on top of it. So some of the concealers that I like the most, such as the Tom Ford concealer, that one, or the Merit concealer, those do not really need to have powder on top of them, but I do feel like I need to put powder on this. And the powder that I decided to use today is the Mob Beauty powder. Now this is a really wonderful powder. I think that I like the actual powder that is in this container as much as anything that's on the market, and it really does go on very invisibly and very easily, and especially for this look, it gives my skin kind of a pretty kind of blurred matte look that I think is really appropriate for wintertime look. You don't really want your face to look too oily in the winter, because you really wouldn't have a lot of oil on your skin in the winter when you're outside. Now the thing that I don't like about this powder, or that kind of drives me crazy, is that it is in this biodegradable, compostable package. So it's all cardboard, and if you like, you can just throw this in your compost and it will all go back to the earth, which I think is great, but I have a darn time getting the lid on and off of this powder, and every time I do that, there's a little puff of powder that goes all over the room. So I think that they should work a little bit more on this container to have it be ideal for me, but the powder is really lovely. The more that I use it, the more I like it. And then as an eyeshadow base, I am using the Beautycounter concealer. I think this is the shade Light 2. And so I have found that I really like to use a concealer on my eyes, because it tends to cover up all of the dark spots that are already on there and to give me kind of a canvas. So the concealers that I have liked for that purpose, I have liked the Kosas one, I've liked the Say one. I really like the Say one quite a lot. I thought that the House Labs one has been really good for me, and I've also liked this Beautycounter one. And all of those are concealers that haven't irritated my eyelids at all, and my eyelids do tend to be really, really sensitive. So I don't think it would be an issue with this brand, but if there's an eyeshadow that I want to use that's a little bit on the irritating side, then I've found that putting down a layer of a primer like this can help a lot in terms of my eyes being able to tolerate those shadows. And I also think that it provides a good base. And in this case, I really do think that the eyeshadows that I'm going to be using do need some kind of base under them. Otherwise, they tend to not last very long. And then next I'm going to put on my eyebrow pencil, and because I'm trying to make this into a really quick look that's only about 5 minutes, I am using my Jones Road eyebrow pencil. This one, it's so short because I've used it so much. And what I find with this pencil is that it has little fibers in it, so all I have to do is spend maybe 15 or 30 seconds per eyebrow, which is really quick, and just go ahead and and draw it on, and it actually is the only eyebrow pencil that I can use that I think gives me any kind of a natural look without my needing to put brow gel over it. So I have brows that are both very light and they are very sparse. So if I just use brow gel, that does not really give me much of a look because I don't have that many brows. But if I just use a pencil, then it looks very artificial. So usually I need to use an eyebrow gel plus an eyebrow pencil. But with this one, I think that I can get a passably good look really fast. And so if I'm really in a hurry, that's what I will use. So the next thing that I thought I would show you on my eyes is a cream formula from Rituel de Fille that is kind of in a lilac taupe type color. So it's basically taupe, but it has just a tiny little bit of a purplish haze to it. And they say that this is a color that you can use either on your eyes or that they suggest using as a contour product for people with light skin. Well, I'm not really that interested in contouring regardless, but I do think that because cool eyeshadows of this color seem to be coming into style now, I thought I would try putting this on my eyes. And I do think that as something that I can just throw on really fast, that I do think it's a really pretty color on my eyes. And as something that's really neutral and that looks really like I'm not wearing any eyeshadow at all, I think this is very nice for an everyday eyeshadow. So that is a cream formula that has oil in it, and so I try to put on a thin layer and then let it sit for a while before I put anything on top of it. And I do have another eyeshadow that I want to put on top. So the next product that I want to talk about is this pink blush, and this is actually the same formula as the last product that I put on, that taupe-ish purple eyeshadow. But in this case, it's a pink that is quite cool and that I think really is about the same color as my cheeks when they actually do get red from the kohl. And it is pretty highly saturated, so when I first put it on my cheeks, it looks really pink. But if I put on quite a bit of it, I feel like it actually looks fairly natural, especially if I buff it in pretty well. Again, I'm using that Jones Road brush to do that. And what I do find is that my skin, especially if I'm not wearing a regular foundation, does absorb blush pretty well. So I usually put on blush and then I let it sit on for a while, and then I go back and see if I need any more. And in this case, I think that one thing that's really makes this into a realistic look is to take this color and just put a little tiny bit on my nose, because I certainly think that when I am outside that my nose does get red. And so if I include a little bit of that redishness on my nose, I think it's kind of cute in a wintertime way. I also find if I'm like sitting by the fire that my skin will sort of get to be this same color. So I think it's appropriate even if I'm not going outside. And then next, I have a little bit of highlighter from Rituel de Fille, and I have several colors of the Rituel de Fille highlighters, but the one that I thought that would be nice for this look is called Ghost Light. So this is primarily an icy white type of highlighter, but it has just a little bit of a shift of purple in it. And the Rituel de Fille highlighters I really, really do like because they all have these shifts in them. So they look pretty much just like you have a regular color on, but in certain kinds of lights you can just see a little bit of interest. And it's never been so much for me that I can't wear them even during the day, but I do think that in terms of giving your face just a little bit of interesting color to it and a little bit more, that's interesting. I really do like this a lot. And I think, again, for the winter months, that having something that really shifts cool is a good thing, and that it goes nicely with this pink blush. And although the blush took me a couple seconds to put on and then to blend in, this highlighter goes on super fast, so I really like that about it. Now, both the blush and this highlighter, they do smell like lavender, and so most of the Rituel de Fille products smell like lavender. So sometimes that's a little bit of a jolt, but I have never found that lavender oil has irritated my skin, and EWG doesn't seem to think that that tends to be a problematic ingredient. The concealer does have frankincense in it, and that does have a little bit of a scent as well. But again, I've not found that to be irritating to my skin at all, and EWG doesn't think that that's a problematic ingredient either. So now let's put on some slightly sparkly eyeshadow. And right now, again, those cool colors seem to be in fashion, and I think that they're also appropriate for this look. I feel like last year when people did the cold girl look that they were just putting on champagne colored eyeshadows, which is okay, and it certainly looks icy, but I don't feel like that color is the most flattering for me personally. I think I do better with something that's a little bit on the medium taupe side. So the eyeshadow that I have here, it is called Cultist, and it is a taupe color with just some little bits of gold shimmers, which I think are kind of pretty on my eyes. This is an eyeshadow that I feel like I can actually wear every single day, and it does go on really fast. You know, these eyeshadows, they used to be in containers with a tiny little hole in the top, so it was very, very difficult to put them on, and you couldn't even get your finger in the jar. But now they have these custom-made glass jars that are shaped similarly to the old ones, but they have this great big opening here that you can either use your finger, or what I most prefer is this brush from Rituel de Fille. So this is a brush that has a pretty dense bristles on it, and I can just put this in here. I can take out some of the product, I can put it on my eyes, and it goes on super, super fast if I do it that way. So it really is going on just about as fast for me now as an eyeshadow stick, and then I just use a fluffier brush to blend it in, and that's it. So I really feel like I need to keep this out all the time, because as eyeshadow looks go, I think it really is quite pretty. And then I actually do have an eyeshadow in this same formula that is more of a champagne sparkle color. And this is called Fauna. And so I thought that what I would do is just put a little bit of this on as well. So I put a little bit of this more in the corners and then in toward the middle of my eyes, and then I left the darker part on the outside part of my eyes. So I think it's still giving me a really natural look, but it also is a little bit prettier than not having any eyeshadow on at all, or just having just a plain sparkle on my eyes. So the only part of this look that has taken me more than a few seconds to put on is this eyeliner. But I thought that it would be fun to do this eyeliner because it's new to me, and so I've been playing around with it. So as I've talked about a number of times on this channel, I do really like using the Merit eyeshadows as eyeliners, and I actually think that they work much better for that purpose than they do if I try to use them as an eyeshadow. I also have been using the Ma Beauty eyeliners, and these are little pans that go in their palettes, and you make a little puddle of water, and then you put that on with the brush, and that has worked surprisingly well for me. I wouldn't have expected that to work at all. I had only experimented up until recently with these Rituel de Fille ones in a little sample that they sent to me, and the reason was because the only colors that they previously had available were a black one and a reddish one. So the reddish one kind of gives a kind of a goth look, and that seems to be like the last thing that I need to do around my eyes, is to put something that's sort of a burnt red there, and black tends to be too dark for me. So I usually don't do all that well with black eyeliner, although I'll wear it on occasion. But now Rituel de Fille has two new colors. So one is kind of a medium gray. That's maybe the color of this headband that I'm wearing. And then the other one is a slightly more blue, and it's supposed to be like a dark blue that's approaching black, but that still has an obvious blue to it. And that's called Dusk. And so I decided to try this one out, and it does take a little bit of time to put on the eyes. I need to use this tiny little slanted brush, and then usually when I finish with that, then I will smudge it a little bit using a different brush. This one is from Jane Iredale. It's called Smudge Brush. And I feel like, you know, the first couple times I used this Rituel de Fille product, it did take a little bit longer. But I think once I got used to it, I'm actually able to put this on pretty fast. So I think it does add another minute or maybe even 2 minutes to the routine. But it's not something that I think is really difficult. And for someone like me that has very, very sensitive eyes, I find that a lot of times the eyeliners that are in pencils tend to be irritating. There's very, very few pencils that I have been able to use without them irritating my eyes at all. But I do think that I've done really well with this Rituel de Fille one, and it hasn't irritated my eyes at all. So in terms of my lips, I started out by putting on a little bit of this MAC Prep Plus Prime product, which is what I do use really anytime I'm putting on a product that might be a little bit drying. Now this is a silicone-based formula, but I think that when it comes to matte type lipsticks that it works really well. It does have some vanillin in it, so some people might object to that. I don't really like vanillin myself, but I feel like in this product, it's mild enough that it hasn't been bothersome to me, and I do think it works really, really well in allowing me to wear any kind of matte product without it feeling really dry and really uncomfortable. And then Rituel de Fille makes a line of lipsticks, and then also what they call lip sheers. They're basically the same formula, but I think the lip sheers have somewhat less pigment in them. And this color is Whitethorn, which is about the same color as my lips. So I feel like I just want to put down a little bit of a base of this just to give me some actual color on my lips. And then over the top of that, I'm putting on these new lip oils from Rituel de Fille. So these are called the Peptide Plump Cream Lip Oils, and I have this in the color Rose Bite. So these are products, they haven't irritated my lips at all. So when it says plump, it doesn't really have irritating ingredients in it. But it does have some peptides, and I think that that might be a good thing. I think that it really looks pretty on my lips. Whether my lips look larger than usual, I don't know about that. But I really like this formula. It feels really nice on my lips. It feels very moisturizing. The only issue with it is that it does have ginger root oil in it. And ginger root oil is something that I've grown to be really wary of because it's one of the ingredients that is in the Jones Road Miracle Balm. Now, I think that the reason that those products, the Miracle Balm and their foundation, are annoying to me is because they contain rose geranium oil. And it seems to me that the ginger root oil is actually not irritating at all. This is perfectly fine on my lips. I wouldn't say that ginger root oil is my favorite essential oil. I do really like ginger root in food, and I really like ginger bread cookies, but I don't know that this would be my choice for a lip oil, but I actually feel like this is such a good formula that I'm really getting used to it. So I'm not sure if I will buy this again, but I really think that I'm liking it more and more. It's in glass. I think it's a really pretty color. It goes on really easily. And I've tried a lot of different lip oils and liquid lip balms. And I think that this is actually turning out to be one of my favorite ones. And it does come in a bunch of different colors. Most of those are on the rose cool type of colors though. And then it does go all the way to black. So I'd be a little bit interested in seeing what that black lip gloss looks like. And now for the mascara, and actually at this point in the video I'd already put on a layer of mascara and then let it set. So this is my second coat. So a little bit of background on this mascara. Now all of the other products, as far as I know from Rituel de Fille, they're all made in the US. And this mascara is actually made in Italy, and this is maybe the only product, or at least one of the only products from Rituel de Fille that is not 100% natural. It does have a little bit of synthetic ingredients in it, but it is mostly natural. And I personally am used to using tubing mascaras at this point. So the thing about tubing mascaras is that they go on super, super easily, and with almost no effort on my part, and I don't have to worry about them clumping my eyelashes together. They do look very natural. They really last pretty well. They don't like come off in little flakes, and they wash off really easily in water. So I've become a little bit spoiled, but mostly what I'm looking for is a natural type of a mascara look, and so the tubing mascaras have worked really well for me. So I have really liked the Calorie mascara, and I like the Merit mascara, and I do like the new Westman Atelier I Want You mascara, and I also like the Victoria Beckham one, which is called Vast Lash, but still gives pretty much of an understated mascara look. That's not officially a tubing mascara, but it performs a lot like a tubing mascara. So this is a very different mascara in my opinion, and the thing that I found most noticeable about this is that it almost seems like it's a paste in here. So when I pull it out and then I scrape it off, what there is, the texture of the liquid that's inside here, it's really not liquidy at all. It's really much more like a full paste. And I don't think there's something wrong with my mascara. I think that's just the way it's supposed to be. But I do think that's at least, you know, and I've only used it half a dozen times so far, at least at the beginning, I really do feel like I need to scrape this off really, really well so there's very little of this stuff on the wand. And then if I do that, then I can put it on my eyelashes and it looks reasonably natural when I do that, or at least not all clumped together. Now I could get out my spoolie and try to separate the lashes if they did get clumped together, but I really would prefer not to do that. I'd like for it to be a little bit easier. So I think that if what you're looking for is a natural lash look, then this might not be the mascara for you. I think that tubing mascaras work much better for that, but I think if you're looking for a more dramatic eyelash look that you can really build up to something that's more dramatic but that still performs pretty well, then this could be one to consider. And when I put 2 coats of this on, I do feel like I got lashes that are much more dramatic than what I usually get, and I do have very short and not very dense eyelashes to begin with. But I think that my eyelashes did frame my eyes much better when I did that, so it really depends on what you're looking for. And then one product that I didn't use yesterday, but that I just found is this little sample of what they call the Alchemist. So they call this a highlight for your highlight. But what it really is kind of a sparkly glitter. So this is not something that I have purchased, at least not yet, but I did get this little sample of it. And I think for this look, it's kind of pretty. So let's just put a little bit of this on because I think it does give a little bit of that icy snow look. And of the glitters that I have tried, the one that I have been really enthusiastic about is the Sparkle Bomb from Mom. But now that I'm trying this, at least in the context of this look, I actually really like this one too. I think it's quite pretty. And let's put some of that on my hand. So I think it's a nice product. I wouldn't mind having a full container of this, and I might be able to get some actual use out of it, especially for specialty looks like this or for parties or evening looks, things like that. And so then at the end of the video here, yesterday I put on a little bit more of that blush. And I think that, you know, usually I would not put on nearly that much blush because I don't want to have cheeks that look artificial. But in the wintertime, my cheeks actually do get that color. And so I don't think that it's a wrong thing to put on blush that's a little bit more pronounced than usual if it's mimicking something that my cheeks would look like in real life. So yesterday, after I shot all that footage, then I went out with my dog actually in the snow for about an hour. So that was a really good wear test. I did find that pretty much everything held up really well, and that I thought that I looked pretty good when I came back. I do feel like that eyeliner came off a little bit and that I really wasn't seeing as much of the eyeliner, but the eyeshadow held up pretty well. The mascara flaked a little bit, but I think that that held up quite well considering that it was snowing outside. And I still had some of the blush left. You know, I think this blush, compared to pretty much all the other blush in my collection, it holds up really well on the skin. So I think that maybe the absolute best one is the Honest blushes, but this one is a close runner-up to that. So thank you very much for watching all the way to the end of the video. And please let me know in the comments how you're holding up this winter and how you are making it more bearable for yourself. In addition, if you have yet to subscribe to this channel, I am getting so close to 1,000 subscribers. So I am really excited about that. So if you haven't subscribed yet, then please go ahead and do that. And Coco and I love you very much. So thank you very much for watching. Goodbye. Ba-da-ba-da-da-bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.